Hi guys, I'm Tony Woods and I'll be taking you through the SISNI guitar method, book number 2. Today we are going back into our open chord studies. We're done with the key of G. We've learned all 6 chord shapes in the key of G and the major, minor, and dominant versions of the 3 chord, which was the B minor, B major, B7. Moving into the key of C, we're around page 65, somewhere in the middle of the 60s there in your fundamental series book number 2. And the first 4 chords should look familiar. We got the open C chord, our old long familiar diagonal C chord. We've got the F chord, all of these from book 1. You know, anytime there's an F chord that comes right before a G chord, instead of switching to this open G shape, if you've got an F and then a G, I would almost always slide your F bar chord forward to that G chord. Makes it much simpler, and the notes seem to sound better when you take these notes, move them to these notes, rather than going these notes to these open notes. Well, maybe there's not that big a difference. Anyway, I think it sounds better. It sounds fuller. Okay, that's your option. So we've got the F, we've got the G. We've got to remember there's an optional 7th. You'll notice that G chord, if you go to the top of your page there, look at the Roman numerals underneath your chords. The G is Roman numeral number 5. It's the 5th chord, or the 5th note in that scale. C, D, E, F, G. So that's the 5th chord. It'll always have a Roman numeral number 5. The 5th chord is always a Roman numeral number 5. Interesting about the 5th chord is the 5th chord can also be a dominant chord or what we call a 7th. That's unique to the 5 chord. So usually when you practice a 5 chord, you would practice the 5, which is the G, and you would practice the 5 as a dominant, which would be a G7. If those names, dominant and that type of stuff, is blowing your mind at this point, don't worry about it. Forget about it. Just play the G chord. If it says G, play the G7. If it says G7. And then, of course, we go on to the A minor. Those are all the chords we did in book 1. We're going to add to the key of C the 2 chord and the 3 chord and the variations of the 3 chord. So the 2 chord is going to be a D minor. If you'll remember back to book 1, we played the D minor in a song called Daniel by Elton John. And that chord was written out for you there on that PDF for Daniel. Then we go to the 3 chord, which happens to be E minor. Okay, now the other possibility for the 3 chord is to make it a major chord. So let's add this finger here to that E minor, which is going to make it an E major chord. And if we take this 3rd finger off, we just turned it into an E7 or an E dominant. Okay, very good. While we're on the key of C, how about we also run our C major scale, the C Ionian scale, and I'll try to play some background chords that will make that sound kind of cool for you. So let's start on the C, and we're going to play the major scale or the Ionian scale that you already know so well. So here we go. And you could even play a C chord. Okay, so the cool thing about that major scale Ionian is we can move it anywhere on that 6th string, and it always is the right scale. Okay, so what let's do, let's go out and our next lesson is going to be covering all the modal progressions written in your book there in the key of C, and the same strum patterns that we already use in the key of G. So you're going to play the scale now. Start on that C and just play the major scale all the way up and back down, and I'll play some background chords that will hopefully make it sound good for you. So you're on the C scale, I'm going to play chords. Are you ready? Let's go. Very good. Okay, now this isn't necessarily in your book or in our curriculum, but let's go back and do a little review since we've got some time of our old blues scale that we learned in box number 1, in book number 1. If you remember back to the A blues solo, when we did the key of A in book number 1, we learned this pentatonic box starting on the A. First finger pinky, first finger third, first finger third, first finger third, first finger pinky, first finger pinky, and back down. Pinky first, third first, third first, third first, pinky first. So how about you just run that scale? Straight up and down. And I'll try to play some chords for that. In fact, I'll play the same chords. Try that blues scale. Here we go. You play the blues scale on the A, and I'll play chords. 3, 4. Okay, just for fun, play the exact same scale. Start on the A, just play the pentatonic box like you just did. Play the exact same thing. I'm going to choose some different chords, and it should make you feel like you're playing a different scale. It should make the music sound completely different. But you're just playing the same old scale. I'm changing what chords I'm playing. So you start on the A, play that same pentatonic box. Here you go. 2, 3. Okay, just for fun, let's do one more. Stay on that A pentatonic scale. Okay, stay there, and I'm going to play a slightly different chord progression, but you play the same scale, and notice how even though you're playing the same scale, it's going to sound a little bit different. Here we go. You play the A pentatonic. 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's exactly what we would be doing in a real situation if you were sitting with me at the guitar school having lessons. We would be jumping back and reviewing all the different scales we learned, all the different chords we learned. So, important for today is the key of C, all new 6 chords that we have there. Actually, there's a few more than that, all 8 of them. Key of C and the major scale. Have fun, practice hard, have a great day. We'll catch you in our next lesson where we're going to do the modal progressions for the key of C.